Hi there. This is the next video in this series of videos I've been doing looking at various aspects of piano technique. So I've done some videos so far on scales and also on improvising. And today I thought we'd have a little look at arpeggios. And in this one video I'll kind of go through arpeggios from a beginner's standard pretty much up through to the more advanced standard. When we first start off with arpeggios, we actually tend to start with what we sometimes call broken chords. If we think of a C major chord, we can play the three notes C, E, G, and you can play them in the different inversions, so with E, G, C, so first inversion, and then G, C, E, which we call the second inversion. So the first simple exercise we tend to do with broken chords, where we use those different patterns. That's how you'd expect to do a broken chord for grade 1 piano exam. It's quite useful also, particularly if the hands aren't too small, with beginner students, to have a little go at playing them as block chords, playing all the notes together. And that's quite a useful way of really getting the hand shape around. Then as we get a little bit more advanced, we get on to arpeggios, where you take the notes C, E and G, and play them with first, second and third finger, or in the left hand it can be 5, and you can use either 4 or third finger, and then second finger, and then we repeat the C at the top with a thumb, or with 5 in the top hand. And when you first start doing these, particularly with younger students, don't stretch the fingers too much, feel free to move the hand a bit. Stretch the fingers as far as is comfortable, but feel free to move the hand around a bit to help with those if you want. We then get towards doing them 2 octaves, and more octaves than that as well, and that's when we've got to tuck the thumb under. So we start off with 1, 2, 3, then the thumb goes under so we can continue over more than 1 octave. Now that could be where it starts to get a little bit more challenging, because tucking the thumb under can be a little bit fiddly, it's a big stretch. You can practice that movement if you want, just by practicing 1 octave but taking the thumb under. So take the thumb under and back again. You can even do it with just the C, G to C, to get that movement nice and secure. And obviously you can use the same principle on the arpeggios in all the other different keys. Then as you get on to kind of more advanced arpeggio practice, you might start to do different inversions. So for C major we've got the root position, and then we can start on E and do the first inversion, start on G, second inversion, and so on. You can also try different inversions in each hand. First inversion right hand, root position left hand. You can try different rhythms, different dynamics, soft, loud, or with a crescendo. When you end all the way down, all those kind of things. You can practice them staccato. Always good to do the staccato practice as well. You can also practice them contrary motion. And there's all these different things as you get onto more advanced arpeggio practice are all useful ideas. I think it's important to use your imagination really and come up with lots of different ways of practicing these. When you get an arpeggio within a piece of music, it's very rarely a straightforward C major or D major or E major arpeggio, 2 octaves beginning and ending on C. You might begin and end on different notes, you might have some different rhythm within arpeggio, and you'll almost certainly have some dynamics or expression. If it's not marked in the music, then hopefully musically you'll want to shape the arpeggio and put your own expression in. So it's important to incorporate that in your technical work as well, and to practice using different rhythms, practice different dynamics and all these different things. Anyway, there's a few thoughts on arpeggios. Feel free to make some comments or let me know what you might like me to do for the next video, which aspects of kind of piano technique or whatever you'd like me to perhaps have a little look at. I hope you find this useful. The idea is not necessarily to tell you how to practice these things, but to maybe give you a few ideas, but then also hopefully for you to respond with a few ideas so we can kind of learn from each other and share some different ideas together. So hope that helps.